So do you suffer extreme anxiety just at the thought of approaching a beautiful woman? Do you wish that you could go right up to any beautiful woman that you want and approach them confidently? No worries, in this video we will go over exactly how you can conquer your fears and share 10 actionable tips for you guys. So definitely make sure that you stick around until the end. Yes, I know that this kind of sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, this is going to help you tremendously. This is Gentlemen and Scholars, where we discuss dating, style, and personal development. So if you're into becoming a better version of yourself, definitely make sure that you like and subscribe. But without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So jumping right in, here are the top 10 tips to conquer that dreaded approach anxiety. So for tip number 1, that is going to be to visualize your success. So, for a lot of you guys, you tend to focus on the negatives. You tend to focus on all the bad things that could happen. Oh, she could reject me. Oh, my friends might see, so on and so forth. But you don't tend to focus on all the positive things that could happen just from taking this small little step and approaching that beautiful woman, chatting her up for 5 minutes and, building something from there. There are so many possibilities, positive possibilities that, guys tend to ignore, but they tend to immediately jump right to the negative of all the bad things that could happen, and it's really disadvantageous for your personal growth. So if you're one of these guys, recognize that, a lot of times these are fallacies of the mind, your mind kind of playing tricks on you, kind of getting you to remain in your comfort zone. So you need to recognize this and recognize that you're doing this, particularly if this is a habit of yours, so that you can make the appropriate corrections. So for tip number 2 for how to conquer that dreaded approach anxiety, that is going to be to not let what any one woman thinks about you define you as a man. Let's be honest here, gents, a lot of guys do this. They go up to a beautiful woman, maybe they saw some choosing signals or what they thought were choosing signals, and things don't go as planned, and suddenly they're being down on themselves. They're saying, hey, I shouldn't have done that, or now they're feeling like they're less of a man. This is not healthy, gents. You can't let a woman, have all that power, have the power to, make you feel good or make you feel bad about yourself, and, really be able to determine your self-worth. It's just not healthy and really doesn't make sense, because let's face it, gents, there are smart women and then there's women that aren't so smart, so they just have made a poor decision in that moment, because of course all of you guys are studs. So don't sweat it, don't sweat the small stuff, and recognize that it's a process, right? You're learning along the way. You can use some of those situations that don't go as planned as opportunities to kind of tweak your game, to learn from it, and get better over time. So recognize that this is a process, this is personal development, and it's a journey, and it takes time, and with time you'll eventually get there. So for tip number 3 for how to conquer that dreaded approach anxiety, that's going to be to look for choosing signals. So choosing signals are going to be huge for you, because this is going to give you confidence that the woman is in fact interested. And what a lot of guys do, and this is not a great habit, so definitely make sure that you're not doing this, but a lot of guys, they tend to see a choosing signal and say, oh, this woman is definitely interested. I saw this one signal, right? No, you need to be looking for clusters. So what I mean by clusters is, you see 3 choosing signals in succession, and she's kind of giving you that vibe that she's interested. Maybe she looks over in your direction, and then you look in her direction, and she smiles, you smile back at her. Then she kind of comes over and kind of puts herself in your orbit, so that you're easily able to make an approach. These are 3 different choosing signals in succession. At this point, you can go right up to her and make an approach, or maybe she's not your type and you're just not interested. Whatever the case is, you want to make sure that you're looking for clusters, because again, this is going to give you the best chance of success. So definitely make sure that you're doing this. And this is particularly important if you're a guy that's worried about rejection, if you want the best chance of being able to seduce a woman that you just met. That is going to be with choosing signals. So, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you're looking for these. And if you're unfamiliar with those, these are, indicators of interest or, different cues that women send out to men that they are interested in. That is an invitation in a lot of cases to go over, make an approach, and chat her up. But if you're not familiar with that, I made a whole video on choosing signals and different ones that women send. I'm not gonna go through those here, but I'll definitely link that in the description below. So definitely take a look at that video. It'll be very huge for you to understand. So I highly encourage you guys to check that out. All right, gents, so for tip number 4, that is going to be to recognize that more than likely there are other gents right in the same environment that are thinking the exact same thing as you. So if you see a beautiful woman and she's stunning, she's gorgeous, you want to go over, make an approach, and you're a little scared, you're a little anxious, recognize that more than likely there's a bunch of other guys in that same setting that have seen her and identified her as an attractive woman. So you're not the only one. So point being, you should not be ashamed of liking that woman or being compelled to go over to her and make an approach. So don't feel bad about this, don't feel weird about this. That should give you confidence. Whether it goes good or whether it goes bad, it really doesn't matter. You should feel good about the fact that you had the confidence to do what those other guys did not have the confidence to do. All right, so for tip number 5 to conquer that dreaded approach anxiety, that is going to be to shift your mindset and to be more select. So what I mean by this is that you shouldn't automatically assume that this woman is in or that she'll be a good fit for your life just because you find her attractive. You should be more select about the people that you allow in your life, and really you're trying to find people that are a good fit and make sense. So when you go up to her, look at it as a compatibility test. You want to be asking really good questions, engaging questions, and be in tune in the conversation and really listen to what she says. You can then make a deduction on if you want to take things further or not. But point being, you want to be vetting her and seeing where she stands. Don't just think, oh, I'm trying to do this and that with a woman. Trust me, guys, after you've been with a decent amount of women, you get to a point where you only want quality women in your life. And I have personally turned down women that were a 10 on the attraction scale, but a 1 in terms of personality, in terms of life goals and, values. So, you don't want to get into that stuff. That is a recipe for disaster. Definitely make sure that you vet women and definitely make sure that you're more select about the people that you bring into your life. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, subscribe to join the Gentlemen and Scholars family, and consider checking out the Gentlemen and Scholars Club website for free resources, Gentlemen and Scholars merch, book recommendations, consultation services, and our free Gentlemen and Scholars Ultimate Handbook, where you'll learn personal development tips on how to build a successful life and become the gentleman of your dreams, style tips to develop an eye-catching, attractive, and unique personal avatar, and dating tips to attract, court, and keep the woman of your dreams. Visit the Gentlemen and Scholars Club website for more. Now back to the video. All right, so for tip number 6 to conquer that dreaded approach anxiety, that is going to be to warm up. So, you guys want to be, more social in public. You want to be friendly, when you're out and about doing your thing. Make sure that you're looking at people, you're nodding, you're smiling, you're chatting up the guy or female behind the cash register. This is going to hone your skills. It's going to get you in a more social mood, particularly if you're not feeling it that day, because, funny enough, a lot of times the most beautiful women pop right up in your life when you're not feeling it or when you're in a rush and you're totally, not even in that mind frame. So, you want to make sure that you're prepared at all times. So this is a great way to do that, just by warming up and being social and making it a habit to be social. So definitely make sure that you're doing this, because then when Mrs. Right shows up right in your life, You're already prepared, you're already ready to go, and your mouthpiece is already tailored. All right, so tip number 7 for you guys to conquer that dreaded approach anxiety. That is going to be to work on your insecurities. So, a lot of you guys, struggle with extreme anxiety because you have some deep-seated insecurities that you need to work through. So you definitely want to make sure that these are handled, because what tends to happen is, when you're dating, just in general, throughout the whole courtship, those insecurities tend to come to the surface throughout that process. And if a woman can pick up on that, she's going to kind of poke at those insecurities just to see if they're really there. So you want to make sure that you're doing the work in advance to kind of, work through whatever issues that you have, or, things that you've gone through in the past. And, you want to do the work yourself just to get yourself in the best position to be able to, attract the right type of woman you're looking for. So definitely make sure that you're working through those insecurities. To give an example, for me, I remember when I was in college, still in college, haven't really gotten my life fully together at that point. So one thing that I noticed about myself that was more subconscious, but it took me kind of self-reflecting to kind of identify this and figure this out. I would be somewhat apprehensive to go up to a woman that, let's say, drives a really nice car and dressed really nice, and maybe some designer stuff, because I'm thinking, oh man, I'm still in college, and she kind of has her life all together at that point. And, she's driving this really nice car. Oh man, she makes all this money. She must be married. She must, already have a guy. I'm coming up with all these different excuses in my head, and I haven't even gone over and made an approach. But, since then, at that point, when I recognized I was doing that, I, snapped myself out of it, and I immediately started to make those adjustments. And when I did see someone I liked, I would push myself to actually, go through with it, go and make an approach. And I ended up dating some women that did really well for themselves. So point being is that you do want to do some self-reflecting. You do want to work on your insecurities. I mean, everyone has them, not saying that there's, a way to get rid of them entirely, but you do want to get it to the point where, they're not really so bothersome. Really, the key is to not take yourself so seriously, to not put yourself on a pedestal, and to be a little bit more lighthearted, add some self-deprecating humor into your life. Don't take yourself so seriously. Don't be so eager to, take everything so personally. And this can do wonders for you, particularly with dating. When a woman does try and poke at a perceived insecurity, you can kind of blow it off and crack a little joke. And then after a while, in her mind, she's like, oh, okay, I guess he's not insecure about this thing. And then she'll stop making those types of jokes because clearly it's not working. So that's just a little tip for you guys, but it can definitely help you with your approach anxiety as well. All right, so for tip number 8 to conquer that dreaded approach anxiety, that's going to be to get in the habit of participating in small talk. So when you're out and about, you're doing your thing, you're going to the grocery store, you're picking up different, items for the house, whatever the case may be. You want to be looking at people, looking them in the eye, smiling at them, and if they smile back, don't be afraid to, start some small talk with them, chat for a few minutes, and then, just continue on with your life. But again, this is going to get you in the habit of being more social. And additionally, what it's going to make you realize is that, people are pretty nice. Generally speaking, they're not mean-spirited, they're not out to hurt you, and they will have no issue starting up a quick conversation with you. And this is something that you should integrate into your daily life, because you will feel a lot less anxious when you do find a woman that you find attractive and want to go approach. All right, so for tip number 9 to conquer that dreaded approach anxiety, that is going to be high exposure. So by this, I mean that you're going to want to approach a high amount of women in a short amount of time. Yes, I know that this kind of sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, this is going to help you tremendously, because this is going to get you in the mind frame where you're taking massive action, you're being super social, and at this point, you'll be able to notice the nuances because you're doing it so much. you're starting to notice the patterns. You can then correct certain actions that you're seeing yourself make, and maybe they're not really working to your favor, so you can do other things instead. And then as you watch this channel and learn and continue to improve your game, you can go out and really refine different things. So I would highly encourage you to consider doing that. A lot of the pros say that you should go out and approach 100 different women within the time span of, let's say, a month. That could be advantageous, but the idea here is to do high volume, because when you're doing high volume, this is going to give you more opportunity to correct the things that you're doing. It's going to give you more opportunity to tweak your game, tailor your mouthpiece, because one of the biggest things I hear from guys is, oh, I don't know what to say. Like, oh man, this beautiful girl right there, what should I say? Oh man, like, I went up to her, I didn't know what to say. So, if you don't know what to say, I did do a video on some fantastic pickup lines that I highly encourage you to check out on the channel. But point being is, if you don't know what to say, really the idea here is to get her talking. So you want to ask engaging questions that she'll enjoy answering, and then add a little, humor in there, and maybe a little flirting once you get better. But initially, when you're just starting out, you just want to ask good questions, engaging questions, and you want to do this for about maybe 10-15 minutes. And then at that point, you are getting the number, or you are leading. So by leading, you're asking her, hey, you want to go grab Starbucks because it's right up the street, or whatever the case may be. You can lead her to a destination, or if not, you want to get her number, and then you can set a date on the spot. Like, hey, I'm free Friday. I'd love to see you. We should hang out, and see if she's free. Again, that is the formula. You want to go up to her. You want to engage her, chat her up for a minute, and ask really engaging questions. 10-15 minutes max. Then at that point, you want to get the number, set a date right then and there on the spot for a future time, or at that point, you can try and lead it to a destination. So if it were me, I would try and lead right out the gate. And if she says no, like, oh man, I'm on my way to school, or I'm on my way to work, or I'm about to meet up with my friends, it's okay, fine. Then you can pivot to, oh, okay, well, hey, here, take my number. And then, hey, I'd love to see you. What day are you free? And then at that point, you can kind of move it. Anyway, that is how I would handle that situation. But again, check out that pickup lines video that I did. It kind of goes through how that whole process should go. So definitely make sure that you check that out. So for tip number 10, for the final tip of how to conquer that dreaded approach anxiety, that is going to be working towards your mission and purpose. And I know I say this in almost every video, but it is so true. When you're working towards something that's compelling for you, what tends to happen is, you naturally tend to do things right. So, you begin to embody a certain type of, person, a more confident person, more high value person, particularly when you are doing this consistently in your life, so, don't get super hyped about going to the gym, or, working towards whatever business idea that you have, and you do it for one day, and now you're ready to go tell everybody. No, you need to be doing this consistently. You need to be showing up every day, and taking action towards your lifelong goals. So definitely make sure that you're doing this, because this will show up in how you feel, how you present yourself, and you'll feel a lot more confident when you do see a beautiful woman, and you'll be able to go over and make that approach and won't feel as anxious. Typically if you're not in a great headspace, you're not really taking action, you're kind of in a couch potato type mode and really just trying to figure out your life, this tends to manifest when you do see someone that you like and you want to go and make an approach and kind of move it into some sort of courtship, but deep down you're just not feeling your best. So how can you not feel your best, and it's showing up when you're talking and interacting with her? How can you expect her to want to be around you when you're not super excited about your life as it is? You don't really have anything going for you at that point. So that is why I continue to bring up mission and purpose, because that gives you that drive, that push, and, you know, will encourage you to keep going. And, you know, when you do sit down and talk to her, and, you know, when you engage with her, and, you know, she more than likely will ask, like, hey, like, you know, what are you into? Or, you know, what's your line of business, or whatever the case may be. You know, that can be your opportunity to talk about the things that really compel you. So anyway, you definitely want to make sure that you're doing this. If you're not super clear on that, I highly encourage you to check out the Gentleman and Scholar's Ultimate Handbook, where we go over dating, style, and personal development tips to 10x your personal growth. So we have some stuff in there about, you know, your mission, your purpose. We also have some stuff in there about, you know, your mindset, you know, different things that you may be doing that are holding you back. So I highly encourage you to check that out. And of course, we go over some dating tips, you know, some little known dating tips to 10x your progress. So, you know, definitely check that out. It's on the Gentlemen and Scholars Club website. That is gentlemenandscholarsclub.com. So, you know, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. If you do have any questions for me, definitely feel free to give a shout. Like, definitely subscribe to the channel, and definitely let me know, you know, are there any tips that I may have left out in this one? You know, are you struggling with approach anxiety? Do you plan on working through it and becoming the best version of yourself possible? I know you can do it. Definitely let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. But, you know, until next time, Gentlemen and Scholars. Hey gents, hope you enjoyed the video. And check out the Gentlemen and Scholars Club website for our free Gentlemen and Scholars Ultimate Handbook, free resources, book recommendations, consultation services, and some pretty slick Gentlemen and Scholars merch. GNS hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, notebooks, and so much more. Until next time, Gentlemen and Scholars. Hey gents, if you enjoyed this video, check out some bespoke video recommendations here and here. And subscribe to join the Gentlemen and Scholars Club.